Former Met infielder Buddy Harrelson has managed the Mets to the best record in baseball. Current Met infielder Greg Jeffries hitting .300 is a big reason why. Joe Torre, once a Met manager, has now taken over in St. Louis, where the Cardinals continue to struggle despite hot-hitting Willie McGee. Proud rivalries, instant heroes. Is it the spirit of Bobby Thompson helping the Giants back into the pennant race? New stars have proven giant game winners this week. Today, the Giants meet the Dodgers, who are led by Eddie Murray and Cal Daniels as the rivalry resumes. Yankee Stadium, the house that Ruth built, that George has lived in for 17 years. Now, Commissioner Fay Vincent has ended the Steinbrenner era. Will George's son take over? An update today. Major League Baseball is next on CBS Sports. Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel. Welcome to another Saturday of Major League Baseball here on CBS. This afternoon, some of you will see the Cardinals playing host to the Mets in St. Louis, where there is a 30% chance of rain. That might dampen the spirits of the St. Louis hitters. They have to face Mets ace Dwight Gooden today. Others will watch the Dodgers play the surging Giants at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. San Francisco was pulled to within 4.5 games of the once uncatchable Reds in the National League West. First, there is one game in the American League already underway, that one taking place at Fenway Park in Boston, where the Tigers and the Red Sox are tied 1-1, and that game is now in the 6th inning. Once again, it was Friday night madness for Major League pitching. Let's first take you to Philadelphia, where Pittsburgh's Doug Drabek had a no-hitter, 3-2, 2 out in the 9th inning, got a fastball up to Sil Campusano, who drove it into right center field and ruined what would have been a record 8th no-hitter in Major League Baseball this season. He settled for the one-hitter, Pittsburgh winning it 11-0. The other flirtation with no-hit fame came at Yankee Stadium in New York last night. Cleveland pitcher Tom Candiotti took a no-hitter into the 8th inning, and with 2 out in the 8th, the base hit by Oscar Azocar just out of Jerry Brown's dive eliminated Candiotti from the game. Mel Hall hit a 3-run homer to bring the Yankees from behind, and the Yankees beat Cleveland by a score of 6-4. One more baseball note. Picture Dale Murphy in a Philadelphia Phillies uniform beginning today. Murphy has played his entire 13-year career for the Atlanta Braves. He was traded last night. When we come back, our interview with Baseball Commissioner Fay Vincent, and we will talk live with 2 of George Steinbrenner's partners with the New York Yankees.
CBS Sports presents Major League Baseball. Today's pregame is brought to you by Advil, advanced medicine for pain, and by Thompson's Water Seal Exterior Stain, beauty that lasts at last.
Steinbrenner was out of baseball, but as details became known of the agreement between the Yankee owner and Baseball Commissioner Fay Vincent, new questions were raised. Earlier today, our Jim Gray spoke with the commissioner in Cooperstown and began by asking him why he thinks Steinbrenner lobbied for what many felt was the harsher sentence from his office.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with his personal situation, his interest in the Olympics. I think he hopes that he'll be able to continue with the Olympics. And recognition that it was time to resolve this matter. I think it's a perfectly fine agreement for baseball, and I don't really have to worry much about why it was done by Mr. Steinbrenner.
Commissioner, with the letter that George Steinbrenner or Steinbrenner's lawyers have sent out to the limited partners, there's a growing impression that George is already trying to wiggle his way out of this thing.
No, I don't believe that. I think it was more likely imprecise language and not terrific legal work. I will get it straightened out.
Mr. Commissioner, how are you going to police this thing? I mean, if Hank does get elected and George and Hank are at dinner and George says, pass the potatoes and get rid of Mattingly, how are you going to police that?
Well, you know, I worked at the SEC, and suppose a chief executive of a company at dinner told his son to go out and buy the stock. The SEC polices that all the time. That's a criminal act. People have been prosecuted for that. It's happened at dinner. It's happened at Thanksgiving. I think probably one of the problems is, if you'll excuse me, people don't realize that significant events occur legally at dinner or at Thanksgiving or on occasions when the ordinary layman might not realize it. We will police it, and it will be enforced.
Isn't it hard to do that, though? I mean, if in
well, it's
fact...
no harder for us than it is for the SEC, and I think they do it pretty well. Fact is that people who are doing something wrong or who are cheating inevitably leave footprints. It's not just a conversation. They go and do something, or they talk about it, or they write about it. It is not difficult to enforce. I mean, the terms are very clear. The agreement is not contingent on his son being elected. Baseball will approve or disapprove his son's application, and I would say it's a significant hurdle.
CBS Sports has learned that earlier this week, George Steinbrenner approached Tom Seaver, who is now a New York Yankee broadcaster, discussing with him a front office job with complete control over the entire baseball operation of the Yankees. Seaver has indicated that he would be interested in such a job. On Wednesday, the minority owners in the Yankee partnership are expected to vote on Steinbrenner's proposal to give control of the team to his son, Hank. Well, joining us now, two of those owners, Michael Friedman in Cleveland and Edward Rosenthal in Dewey Beach, Delaware. Gentlemen, good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us. Let me first ask you about reports of a letter having gone out earlier this week asking owners of all of the partners to ratify George Steinbrenner for business powers akin to a general partner. Did it or did it not come from George Steinbrenner? And your thoughts on it. Ed, how about you first?
Well, first of all, I think it came from our partner and lawyer, Mr. McCarthy. I'm not really privy to the language in this this thing that was sent to Mickey and myself and the other owners. But we'll leave it up to Mr. Vincent and the legal department to decide whether this is something for them to handle or something for the partners to handle.
How about you, Mickey? What were your thoughts?
Well, my understanding of it was this was a proxy sent out to all the limited partners. After reviewing it, Eddie and I decided we definitely are 100% in favor of having Hank as the general partner. We signed the proxy and sent it back. The ratification of this vote is due to come, as you mentioned, Wednesday in Cleveland.
Mickey, let me ask you, are you convinced absolutely that it will be Hank Steinbrenner?
Oh, there's no question about it. Our understanding is that he already has received over 80% ratification, and Ed and I and the rest of the partners are working towards making that unanimous by Wednesday.
Ed, I had a conversation over the telephone with George last night, and as he has been doing regularly since all of this came down, he declined to join us, but he said it's been rough. Have you had any conversations with him, and how rough do you think it's been on him?
Well, you know, anytime there's a controversy of this magnitude for George, I'm sure it's rough, but I'm sure George can handle it. I have had no communication with George since Mr. Vincent's decision, but making Hank, or asking Hank by his father to become managing partner, I don't think Hank would take it unless he thought he would have full control and no interference from his dad. And I think his dad knows the ramifications if this takes place or transpires. So we're really looking forward to Hank taking over. He's a wonderful young man, very intelligent. I think he's matured a lot. He's not in his 20s, and he's 33 years old, and I think a guy, you know, when he becomes 33 years old, has enough maturity and business acumen to run a baseball team. George took over the Yankees not knowing that much about baseball. He did a hell of a job. We got we won four league titles, and we won 2 World Series titles. And we've fallen on hard times in the last few years, but I think with a lot of these young ball players starting to produce, I think the Yankees are on their way back to the top.
Ed Rosenthal, Mickey Friedman. Gentlemen, thank you both for joining us. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thanks.
Stay tuned. When we come back, a look at this day in baseball history. Tom Seaver won his 300th Major League game. Rod Carew knocked out his 3,000th Major League hit. We are ready for baseball. I'll be back throughout the afternoon with scores and highlights. CBS Sports coverage of Major League Baseball will continue after this word from your local station.